You believed the most important thing was security, that she was searching for a solid shore to safely dock her heart. You built a fortress around yourself: order, stability, predictability. You thought, if you place her in a warm, safe place, she will stay, as if she were a flower that thrives only in calm soil. But here's the paradox: the more predictable you become, the less alive you seem to her. Stability, yes, it's part of the formula. But when every move is mapped, every word rehearsed, you become a shadow, a comfort, maybe, but no longer a spark. Have you noticed how her eyes sometimes wander? How her smile fades, not from lack of love, but lack of energy. Because what she truly craves is not a locked door or a steady hand. She wants the wildness that stirs the soul, the pulse of something vibrant and untamed. Security is a cage, even if gilded, and no one truly wants to live behind bars, even if those bars shine. She wants to dance with a force she can feel but never hold, to touch the edge of chaos without falling into it. Look closer. What is it that makes her heart race? Is it the calm certainty of your plans? Or the raw, unpredictable surge beneath your skin? That restless energy that says, I am alive. I am here. You thought love was a promise sealed in safety. But love is a fire, fierce and free. It doesn't ask to be contained or owned. It asks only to be witnessed. And sometimes, the greatest gift you can give her is your own wildness. Not tamed, not chained, but burning bright beside her. Is your stability a fortress or a prison? Is your presence a blanket, or the wind that stirs the leaves? Does she see in you a man who simply exists, or a man who challenges the very air with his existence? Remember, she doesn't want to capture the storm. She wants to stand in it, drenched, alive, unafraid. So, ask yourself, are you the safe harbor she's seeking, or just a calm sea that hides a dead storm beneath? How often have you fooled yourself, thinking that what you show is enough, that your well-crafted image, the reliable provider, the steady rock, is the true you? Masks are easy to wear, especially when the world expects them. But what if beneath the mask, the man she needs is something else entirely? You covered your wild edges, your rawness, your contradictions. You silenced the parts that felt too dangerous, too unpredictable, because society said, be steady, be safe, be predictable. And so, you built walls around your energy, locking away the chaos that once made you feel alive.
But she sees through the mask.
Not because she's judging, but because she senses the distance between the man you pretend to be and the man you hide. She wants the fire that burns behind your calm facade, not the polished sculpture shaped by others' hands. Can you hear it? The quiet scream of the part of you that longs to break free? That wild pulse that calls for more than comfort and routine? She doesn't want the shadow of a man. She wants the man who dances with his own light and dark. Why do we fear our own energy? Why do we tame what makes us unique? Because it's easier to be accepted than to be understood? Easier to be held than to be unleashed? But here's the paradox. The very thing you hide is the very thing that will draw her closer or push her away. No woman craves a ghost, a lifeless form of security. She craves presence. Fierce, untamed, and alive. So, what will you choose? To keep wearing the mask, or to reveal the wildness beneath? To risk the chaos for the chance of real connection? To let her in on the fire, knowing it can burn, or leave her cold in the shadows of your safety? You thought stability was the answer. But maybe it's the question. There comes a moment, sharp, undeniable, when the veil lifts. When you realize the life you've been offering her is a reflection of your own fears, not your true self. It's not her fault, nor yours. It's the silent betrayal of illusion. Have you felt it? That sudden clarity, like a cold wind cutting through the summer heat? When you see the cracks in the foundation you built so carefully, the truth stares back, raw and relentless. You understand. She never wanted to be sheltered from the storm. She wanted to dance in it with you, to feel the electricity that sparks between two souls unbound. But all you gave was the quiet hum of predictability. In that moment, the pain is sharp, because you see how much you've lost, Not just her, but the chance to be the man you were meant to be. The man who embraces his contradictions, who carries fire in his veins and refuses to be tamed. But awareness is also the first step toward freedom. When you look at yourself without masks, without illusions, you find the edge, the line between who you were and who you can become. It's terrifying, yes, but also exhilarating. Isn't it strange? The very moment we stop pretending, we begin to live. The moment we let go of control, the wildness returns. It's a paradox that only those brave enough to face the truth can understand. So, what will you do with this awakening? Will you retreat into the comfort of old lies? Or step forward into the unknown, carrying your truth like a torch in the dark? She's waiting, not for a shadow, but for light. Not for safety, but for energy that can't be owned. Pain has a strange alchemy. It burns. It consumes. Yet from its ashes, something new is born. A strength not measured by control or calm. It is a power fueled not by stillness, but by movement. Not by silence, but by the loud beating of your heart. Do you feel it? The storm inside you turning into energy, not the kind that can be tamed, but the kind that pushes you forward, shouting and calling all at once. It doesn't let you stay still. It won't let you forget that you are more than stability. Your strength is not in holding everything under control. It lies in your ability to embrace chaos. A paradox, isn't it? Only by accepting your unpredictability do you become real. She sees this power. She feels it in your movements, in your gaze, in the way you breathe. Because energy that can't be owned isn't just drive or passion. It's authenticity, a living force you can't restrain. Are you ready to become that force? To abandon the role of the quiet shore and become the raging sea? For it is in the unrest where true intimacy is born, where words fall silent and meaning explodes in presence. Strength is not about willpower. It is about the capacity to be yourself, raw and unpredictable. It doesn't fear loss because it knows life is movement, not standing still. So, where is your energy? Does it burn within you? Or do you hide the fire behind a mask of calm, a fire that could light up the sky? The paradox is cruel and beautiful. We seek to control what can never be controlled. The energy she desires cannot be caged. It must be wild, free, unbound. And yet, it is this very energy that creates the deepest connection, the connection beyond possession, beyond safety. You may have thought strength was quiet, steady, a foundation built to last. But what if true strength is a dance with chaos, a wild heartbeat that refuses to be tamed? Can you feel the fire that wants to break free? The fire that scares you but also calls you home? It is the fire that will either burn bridges or light paths. She does not want your promises of calm. She wants your pulse, your restless spirit, the energy that cannot be owned, because it is alive. So, will you hide that fire or will you let it blaze? Will you settle for comfort or risk the wildness that makes you real? Ask yourself, what kind of man do you want to be? The safe harbor that shelters but dulls the soul? Or the storm that awakens her? The fire within is waiting, but it will not wait forever. Now, here you stand, at the edge of something vast and unknown. The fire within you crackles, impatient. It whispers truths you've been too afraid to hear. Will you listen? This moment is a challenge, not from her, not from fate, but from yourself. The call to rise beyond the safe illusions. To become a man who no longer fears his own energy, who no longer hides behind masks of stability and control. What does it mean to rise? Is it to conquer the world? Or to conquer yourself? To strip away the layers of who you thought you should be and step into who you truly are, raw, restless, alive. She is not waiting for a perfect man. Perfection is a graveyard of dreams. She waits for a man who carries storms and sunrises alike. A man who can hold chaos without losing himself, who moves with purpose but leaves space for mystery. Can you meet her there? In that tension between order and wildness? Can you show her the man who is not afraid to burn, to break, to become anew? It is a terrifying invitation, to be vulnerable and strong, To be unpredictable and reliable. To be a force that cannot be owned but chooses to stay. Remember, the greatest courage is not in protecting yourself from pain, but in welcoming it as a teacher. To know that every crack in your armor lets the light in. That strength and softness can live in the same breath. So, what will you choose? To retreat into the familiar safety of illusion? Or to step forward, carrying your fire like a banner into the unknown? She wants energy, not security. She wants a man who lives fiercely, loves freely, and refuses to be tamed. Will you answer the call? There's a paradox in love few dare to speak aloud. Freedom and commitment. Two forces that seem to pull apart, yet when embraced together, create the most powerful bond. She does not seek chains disguised as promises. She seeks a dance where both partners move freely, yet remain connected, where energy flows wild but never breaks. Have you noticed? The men who try to own her, to cage her spirit with security, lose her slowly, because energy, by nature, cannot be contained. It slips through fingers that tighten too much. What she craves is not to be held down, but to be held close, without suffocation, to feel your pulse alongside hers, not to be trapped by it. Imagine love as fire and air. The fire burns brighter because the air flows freely around it. Without air, the flame dies. Without fire, the air is just empty breath. Your presence must be like that air, supporting her fire, giving her space to be herself. Wild and untamed, yet always there, always alive, ready to ignite new sparks. Commitment is not about possession. It's about choosing, every day, every moment, to dance with the energy that can never be owned, but only respected.
Can you be that man?
The man who chooses freedom over control, presence over possession, the man who trusts that love thrives not in cages, but in the wild, open sky. She watches for this, not with demands, but with a silent hope, a hope that you will rise to the dance. Will you join her? This is the moment where everything converges, the pain, the fire, the awakening, the dance. What will remain when the smoke clears? What legacy will you leave in the heart of the woman who sought energy she could never own? She does not need a man who promises forever with empty words. She needs a man who lives fiercely now, who moves like a wild river, unstoppable, alive, unpredictable. The question is not if you can hold her. The question is if you can hold yourself, your passions, your fears, your contradictions, without losing the spark. True strength is the refusal to settle for less than your own truth. To keep burning, even when the night grows cold. To stand unshaken when the world demands you conform. She wants a story, not of comfort, but of fire. Not of quiet safety, but of raw energy that refuses to be tamed or owned. Will you be that story? The man who chose to live unbound, who loved without chains, who dared to be himself fully. Wild, fierce, and free, the fire is yours. The dance is calling. The choice is yours alone. Will you answer?